Vor einigen Stunden hat Oracle in Amerika per Webcast Java 8 vorgestellt. Heute findet die europäische Vorstellung hier in Prag im Hotel Kempinsik unten statt für Journalisten. Es ist kein offizieller Launch-Event, es ist ein reiner Journalisten-Event mit einigen Oracle-Vertretern, die etwas über das neue Produkt erzählen werden.
The next generation.
Since Java was first introduced, this is the biggest update to the platform that we've had. And part of the reason that I say that is that some of the features that we have done here are things that are not just sort of small features tacked onto the side. They're things that fundamentally move forward the programming model that's available to Java developers.
So our theme for this year with Java is Create the Future with Java 8, and literally we really believe that this is a very revolutionary release for us with Java. So those of you who are long-time Java fans and who have followed us over the years, Java 8 really, truly is the biggest change to Java as a platform language. And in 2006, we released JDK 1.6, and since then, I think in the last decade, this is one of our biggest releases. And to go into details on some of the features that are in Java 8, George Saab will walk us through those. But I want to give you like an overview of everything that we've been trying to do with the platform. So I think in a nutshell, it's threefold. One is, as always, our main focus is how do we make development easier for Java developers? And with 8, we've certainly accomplished it. And if you track the trend of Java, we've always been about parallelism, and we've enhanced the value of what Java can bring to multi-core processing with Java 8. So that's certainly one of our key principles and philosophies. Second, harmonize enterprise IT. And what we mean by that, I think, is Java is by far the largest platform that is open, standards-based, and most importantly, community-driven. That's been one of our primary strains in Java, and we've continued to retain that as our founding philosophy of what we do for the entire industry, and especially in the enterprise side of the house. And thirdly, how do we empower the Internet of Things with Java? So I know there's a lot of buzz about Internet of Things, and some people call it Internet of Everything now. And so the way we look at it is, I think in the 1990s, we had, things were connected to the web, the whole Internet of enterprises, if you will, and the web and the browser. And then in the 2000s, it was all about connecting people and individuals with things like cell phones and tablets, which today are pretty passé and everybody has one. And the next big revolution, which is already upon us, is things talking to things, which without necessary human intervention, so to speak. And we really believe that given the fragmented landscape of Internet of Things, Java really, with all of its benefits that it brought decades ago to the enterprise side of the house, has the same value add on the Internet of Things and everything that's going to come to it.
Java, is the largest, most popular platform for enterprise computing, which is out there. We see this constantly. It's always been in the top of the most popular languages and platforms out there. And there's a reason for this. And I think the primary reason is that Java is at a very, very nice level. And what I mean by that is you have some very low-level languages where most of what you're worrying about is telling the machine exactly how to do things step by step, and really sort of involved in kind of the bookkeeping that goes on. And then we have some very, very high-level languages that are very expressive, but may not give you that much power. And Java traditionally has been kind of in the middle ground. It's been something that allows you a tremendous amount of power, but at the same time is a little bit higher level, a little bit easier to understand, a little bit less involved in bookkeeping, and more involved in the business problem you're trying to solve. And this is exactly what has happened with Lambda. It's basically something that has taken a concept that's been out there for quite a while. I think Lambdas were first described in the 1930s. So, this sort of predates all, all computer software history to some extent. But it's something that has been growing in popularity in some of the languages that are out there. And it's something that people have wanted to see in Java for quite a while. And so we're very, very pleased that we brought this in now. And that we brought it in a way that is not only the sort of addition of closures to the Java language, but it's also underlying support in the runtime, in the JVM, in order to make sure that the performance is great. And its use of these in the libraries, along with things like the streams APIs, which have been added in a way that allows you to take existing collections classes, and the collections that may exist in the code you already have, but brings new capabilities to them. And this is actually something that's kind of new. In order to do this, we added something that allows you to extend interfaces, which was not something you could do before. And this is important because it means that in order to start to take advantage of this, you don't have to go and rewrite all of your code to use a completely new set of collections classes. You can take the ones that you already have and start to make use of it.
What we have done in Java 8, and you're going to continue to see this evolution as we make progress in future versions of Java, is we're making sure that the APIs are more aligned and we don't have so many different flavors of it. So there'll just be one version that is Java ME and another version which is Java SE. And our goal is to make sure that we address a wide variety of devices just based on these two flavors of Java, which is, the original founding principle of Java, and we're going back to those roots. The same is true for the language. We intend to make it a proper subset. So Java ME will be a little sibling of Java SE, if you will. So applications written for ME will run on top of the SE platform as well.
What Lambda and streams do is actually take that to the next level. Because rather than forcing you to be the one to figure out exactly how to do all of this complex parallelism, it does it for you in the implementation behind the covers. So now what you can do is you can say, I want a stream. I'm going to take a collection, and I'm going to filter it. I'm going to map it. I'm going to reduce it. And then I'm going to come out with my result. Right? This is a style, filter, map, reduce, that people are quite used to. It's talked about a lot in the big data world. This is sort of taking those concepts and allowing you to apply them directly onto Java collections, which may or may not be big data. They could be like medium-sized data or normal-sized data too. And then what happens is, if you want that to be able to be parallelized, you can basically just say, hey, instead of a normal stream, I'd like this to be a parallel stream. And what the implementation will do is it figures out where you're running at runtime, and if it can be parallelized, and then it will do it for you behind the scenes. Okay? That's kind of cool. In fact, it's really cool. And I think what's even cooler is, when I talked about this evolution over time, this will continue. So we have work ongoing, as an example, something called Project Sumatra in OpenJDK, which is looking at taking advantage of GPUs, right? And basically being able to take these decomposed parallelized streams and to take advantage of fast GPU hardware that's out there in order to take advantage of that in this parallelism. So this is kind of cool because it means I write my stream today, and as that hardware comes online in the future, my program, without my changing it, will be able to take advantage of that.
So the basic architecture for Java ME continues to be where, with CLDC, the Java virtual machine with additional libraries. And on top of that, we've retained some of the ones that already existed, the JSRs with Java ME, with like the generic connection framework, which basically gives you a way to connect to networking. And then the security and trust, which is like TLS 1.2, IPv6, and that sort of libraries. And we've introduced Java ME Embedded Profile, which is a new JSR this time, as well as device access APIs, which I mentioned, which let you connect to different networks. On top of that, depending on the vertical and the type of use cases you need, you can add your own libraries to the platform. So that's, some of these examples are listed out here, and we can talk more in details if you like. We've introduced a lot of features within the plugin environment to improve security. Number one, we are insisting now on signed certificates from a certificate authority, so you can't just simply run unsigned and self-signed applets. We've also introduced features like the deployment rule set that let you bind certain applications to certain versions of Java. And a very important point, ultimately people need to remove the older versions of Java that tend to be prone to vulnerabilities. And we've introduced the uninstall applet tool, which lets you get, first it pops up and tells you you have these unused versions of Java, and then it gives you the ability to just remove them from the system. So we're proactively doing a lot, and we continue to do a lot around security, which we take extremely seriously at Oracle.
Well, so what we've seen is, a lot of customers who have worked on this, a lot of people who use Java that are directly involved in the OpenJDK community or who have downloaded and reported issues in cases where they've seen any. We also work very, very closely with a lot of open source projects in order to make sure that they didn't have issues, or if there were issues, we had an opportunity to fix them. And other sort of enterprises are involved even directly in OpenJDK. So as an example, IBM, Apple, Red Hat, SAP, as well as folks like Goldman Sachs and Twitter and other people like that. So.
And on your question on performance, if you look at yesterday's webcast, we had the Twitter CTO talk about performance gains on 8. It's up to 50% that they were finding with Java 8. So there are tangible numbers from people actually using Java products. So with that, I think, I want to kind of summarize and say Java has always been about parallelism, as George mentioned. We used to continue to have threads, which evolved then into, things like phasers in 6, and now we have Project Lambda. So continuing to make programming in a multi-core world simpler and easier. And as a next step, Project Sumatra today already exists in OpenJDK. You're welcome to go take a look at it. That'll be our next rev of continuing to support parallelism. And as I mentioned, we really believe in a community-driven platform, and you can see a lot of participation in OpenJDK from several members, including big enterprises, as well as individuals who have become a big part of the community-driven effort of Java. And then it is our foundation for the Internet of Things reference platform that we are coming up with at Oracle. I do want to mention we have an Internet of Things Developer Challenge that we've announced, which is coming up in May. May 30th is when you have to submit. For details, you can go to java.net, which continues to house a lot of the Java-related projects. So if you look under java.net challenge, you will see more, and I'm sure we'll give you more information as we head toward the challenge itself. As always, at San Francisco, it's our big flagship event of Java 1 and Open World. So hopefully we'll see some of you there. I recall seeing some of you there as well. And you can find more information via social media on Java in general, and you can track our progress as we go forward. With that, I will give it back to Harold, and we're available for questions.